there ain't no ball. The globe religion about to fall. We're gonna open your eyes so you can see who you're gonna call if you wanna be free. GLOBEBUSTERS! 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 Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Yeah! GLOBEBUSTERS! GLOBEBUSTERS! GLOBEBUSTERS!
And welcome everybody to GLOBEBUSTERS. We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of GLOBEBUSTERS Tech. I'm your host, Zach. Good times for all, and today we're going to be discussing the mystery of water. Now, water is one of the strangest elements that I've looked into. It's really, really fascinating. It's everywhere. Everything kind of needs it, but at the same time, I think it's one of the less understood elements out there. Water, it's just amazing. It brings life. It keeps everything going. It's just amazing. And there's some really neat things you can do with water as well. And we're going to be discussing some of those today. But before we get into that, we're going to say hello to the panel, and we'll start off with Miss Karen B. Karen, how was your week, ma'am?
It's been pretty good. It's been raining a lot, which is good and bad, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, if you already got anything planted, it's good. The cool rainy days, the younglings love that stuff. And they grow so quick. But yeah, it's no fun being out there trying to plant that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Makes the weeds easy to pull though.
Yes, it does.
I know you don't like the word weeds, but I mean it as in plants I don't want growing where they're growing.
Yeah, that's the only 4-letter word that I try not to say. And next up, we have Mr. Kyle Adams. Kyle, how was your week, sir?
It's been really good. Been having great gardening weather over here, and I've just been having a lot of fun doing research, just putting videos together here. I had a lot of fun getting out the Karen versus Jaren earlier this week. That was a lot of fun, and
yeah, that was a good one.
It got me thinking, who wants to watch Witsit versus Jaren? I think that's what we're all waiting for, right? So yeah, I've been doing a bunch of research on that to collect information, and I think I got something.
Awesome. That'll be a good one. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And last but definitely not least, Ms. Cammie Nodell. Cammie, how are you doing this week?
I am doing good. It's a cool rainy day here, and I am in my cool rainy clothes. The sun finally came out. It's beautiful. The Karen versus Jaren. Karen, thank you for that one. As far as I was, again, the obvious, why do you think we're on the ball? And that's the things that had to be said. And it's like, okay, somebody said the quiet part out loud, the obvious. So thank you for that one. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's like, it doesn't need to be the quiet part, but yeah, we a lot of us have always understood it. So thank you for that. There's a really, really good clip that you did for it, Kyle. But yeah, it's beautiful here. Looking forward to show tonight. Water, it was fun to see everybody's different angles from the mystery of water, because there's so many different mysteries of it and so many different ways to look at it. So it'll be a loaded show tonight. So welcome, everybody.
All right. So I know you wanted to kind of get into natural water, like the oceans and rivers and things like that. And you would think that, the river just kind of runs into the ocean and then it becomes the ocean and it's just different water, but it really doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that at all. And part of this that I'd love to hear Karen rant on is all of these waters. What are these What are these waters? These waters are super saturated slurries. What happens with saturated slurries, Karen? That's what these are. Life happens.
Mm-hmm.
Rock life, all life happens. And so from the waters, so the different waters, it makes sense. We can even start with that and go into the things I wanted to end because I loved the tech ways we were going. But this was just a reminder of where waters meet waters and where the oceans meet, and that where you think on the map you show the big blue marble and everything's big blue marble, no separation. But our oceans have got different names to them, and even within the oceans we have different seas. And looking at this, when you watch where the oceans meet the oceans, you'll see where ocean meets water. Anytime you have water meeting water, it's magic happening. And there's something called well, my tongue is tied. It's a stratification layer. Thank you. Stratification layers of waters where they don't, again, you don't mix, but you actually see in the water a line between the oceans. A very, again, it's going into each other, but looking out, you can see where the waters mix. I've got different examples of this doing it. I used to did pictures of it, but in video, and in people, again, I just did a lot of short ones. This one's probably the least intriguing of it, but it's talking about,
Did you want me to do the
you,
audio?
you can on there, you can do the audio and some
Okay.
of these things through it. How long is this one? Is it really short or?
145. Yeah. This
Yeah,
is the Did
this
You
is,
Know channel.
yeah. And this is probably one of the least exciting of it, but it's just showing again the Caribbean meeting, I think the Atlantic and how beautiful it is. So go ahead.
What's the name of the sea that's in the Atlantic Ocean? And it's not
Sargasso.
Sargasso. It's not touching any other, it's not touching a body
Mm-mm,
of land. It's not like
mm-mm.
there's an island there with a
No,
sea
but there's
around it.
but there's kelp fields in it, and just even in the water, you'll talk about where you bounce down and hit different levels and different seas in there. This is
But yeah, there's a sea in the middle of the ocean that isn't
it's in
touching
the middle
land
of the
at all.
Atlantic. Hey, sorry about that, people. We have some of the fun and exciting things that came to this house this week is my son's friend is here from Denver. So there will be a lot of laughter and there will be a lot of extra barking because my dogs are very aware that like he doesn't live here and they're going to tell us a lot. So my dogs are not as bright as Karen's dogs that she say my dogs are really smart and da 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 da. My dogs are really cute, but
Okay, so
not
this
so
is
smart.
where the
Yeah.
Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea meet and stunningly breathtaking.
Where the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea meet is stunningly breathtaking. One reason I want to be a traveler is to see the most beautiful places around the world. There are a lot of amazing places on my wish list, and one spot that really catches my attention is the majestic window glass bridge where the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea meet.
Karen, by the way, while this is going, I have yet to find a video that does a merge of all of that. I can find each
Sarah is an island
individual,
in the
but it's everywhere where the waters meet.
Mm.
Go ahead.
Bahamas, lying 50 miles, it's about 80 kilometers east of Nassau. It's long and thin, 110 miles or 180 kilometers long.
Zach, you can go on to
divides
other
the
ones. You're going
Atlantic
to describe the area. It's not going to, I think you even saw the best of the pictures through it. This is talking about a glass bridge and where you walk and see what they showed at
Oh,
the beginning of the video.
okay.
This
I
is a
think it's
good one
really
to listen.
interesting because you don't really think about that a lot, is dividing lines between oceans.
Right. You don't. You just sit there and think it's all homogenous. But this one, I don't know how long, but some of the short ones were really good on these. And again, the one that we just played was probably one of the, this is a good technical one. It's going to talk about the stratification layers, I think.
Many scientists say that we know more about outer space than the depths of our oceans. While we've
Why is
given our
that?
planet's oceans separate names, in reality, there's no border between them, and currents continually flow between them and mix their waters. The Atlantic and Pacific Oceans are the two largest seas on the planet, covering half of the Earth's surface, meet at the southernmost tip of South America called Cape Horn. According to topographers, the line that marks the border between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean runs straight between Cape Horn and Antarctica. In this
How do
region,
they know? They see
carries
it.
water from west to east, sweeping water from the Pacific into the Atlantic. On the other side of the planet, the Gulf of Alaska, an arm of the Pacific Ocean, holds a spectacular view which seems to be the confluence of two oceans, whereas it is actually the glacial meltwater meeting the offshore waters. The color variations found here draw a clear line between these two oceans.
Wow.
Right. Why
Okay, so
isn't this
that's
on
not the
Google Earth?
horizon right there. That's the
No, that's the
horizon right
water.
there.
Yeah.
This
And
is
these
like
are
green looking wall.
so pronounced in a lot of places that, again, why Google Earth? Why are these not featured or again even mentioned? You just
It
don't
really
really think
wants me to
about.
understand like the salinity of the water. Like, how is this water really different than this water? Like, yeah,
That's exactly what each one has got its own supersaturated slurry that we're talking about that creates all different things out of it just due to the characters of it. But yeah,
the bigger
this
question
one
is
will
why aren't
explain.
they mixing?
Mhm. And again, this is going to explain, this one will
Uh,
tell you on the stratification, but again, each one of these oceans, and that is quite, and it's not just the oceans. We'll do this, it's where all of when we look at our river names, you'll see that so many of our names of rivers have colors in them. The Green River, the Rhine River, the Yellow River, again, so many of them, the Blue Nile, again, so many of them have got names to them. Type in any named river, the Rhine River, type in where the Rhine meets or where the Yellow River meets, and you'll come up with all of these people, hit images, and you'll see where it meets different bodies of water, and there's a stark line everywhere it meets it. They have colors to them, and they're named these rivers for a reason. But keep
makes me
going,
wonder if
Zach.
you can replicate this in a fish tank somehow.
Sure, you can. You can do it you can do it by a density tower. I mean, this is the side stratification, but it's very much like a density tower.
But
When you make a
horizontal
density
instead
tower.
of vertical.
Right.
Yeah, that's wild.
hmm So this will explain it a little bit, I believe, on this one. Go ahead.
The heavier clay materials with iron and sediments at that harbor at the Gulf make the waters at Gulf appear darker than the glacial meltwaters. The reason for this strange phenomenon is due to the differences in water density, the salinity, and temperatures of both these oceans keep their waters demarked and separated. This phenomenon is called water stratification. The nutrients present don't mix, and the photosynthesis process for the plankton present in oceans is limited. Hence, the concentration of planktons present also differs, which in turn absorbs light and scatter in different directions. The mixing boundary is, of course, a curve, but on the surface, it seems like a zigzag line or like a boundary. But it isn't only the truth. What you see is the extreme level of mixing of waters. It may change with time and temperature, but due to the large volume of both the waters, change is negligible and have a fixed zone. It seems amazing and like a miracle. Yes, it is a miracle of science and nature.
So they are mixing and changing. It's just going really slow in
You have
comparison to the
it's the
quantity of
border.
water there.
You're looking at the border between, again, your borderland between the two different bodies. So you have two gigantic bodies that have got their own properties, and it's where the two come together. So you can do it again more with Zach, with the rivers, with any of the ones, good images.
Now, what's the name of that sea again?
I believe it's Sargasso. Sargasso.
That was just
A large volume.
crazy right there.
There's some other rivers in that are even more pronounced, Zach. That's not even one of the most pronounced. I sent you rivers and different ones too going down. And this time I sent it in some videos instead of that, with people out on boats on the videos and people that you can see. This is not just Photoshop. It's not you'll get some Photoshop pictures of it,
Welcome to
but
the
it's
Sargasso Sea, nestled in the heart of the North Atlantic Ocean,
we're going
It's
to Sargasso. Go for it. That's where you want to take it.
bordered by 4 major current systems instead of land masses. The sea's name comes from sargassum, a type of seaweed that freely floats on its surface, forming a golden brown marine jungle. This sea is a sanctuary for countless marine creatures, Over centuries, the Sargasso Sea has been sailed by explorers. The first written record of the Sargasso Sea was by Christopher Columbus in 1492. He wrote about seaweed he feared might trap his ship, shallow hidden waters that could cause it to run aground, and the lack of wind which could leave them stranded. The warm blue water and the exceptional quantity of seaweed provide a perfect backdrop for a flourishing ecosystem. This floating marine plant forms dense mats on the surface that host diverse colonies of creatures. These seaweeds serve as shelter, feeding grounds, and nursery areas for various marine species. Sargasso is home to some very interesting creatures like loggerhead turtles, who begin their fascinating life journey here. Then, there are eels from far-off rivers in Europe and North America that return to these waters to reproduce.
Into
It
the
also
I
profile
just clicked on
disappearances
this
have been
one.
traced back to this area.
But yeah, it's right there near the Bermuda Triangle. The
I mean, if it's an
Sargasso
area
Sea.
of, yeah, it's an area of, again, the winds, the sailors avoided it because of the no winds. When they were doing sailboats, it was a huge, huge issue
Oh yeah, and the
Okay,
because you
there's
would
fact
been
get
a
that you
stuck
lot of
there with no
seaweed.
wind. Yeah.
can't really see the ground or anything. It's just all covered in this moving mass of
Hmm.
seaweed. That would make it, you
There are
know, like
patches
you
now.
said,
Yeah.
hard to hide in shallow water.
Hmm.
And it
Makes
kind
you
of makes
wonder
sense
how
that
much
it
of the
would.
world is unexplored because of the inability to really travel there.
Karen, I want that thought. It makes sense because of,
Well, because all the currents are going around,
hmm,
so all this
exactly.
stuff is piling up in the middle. That's why it gets more shallow there. It's
It's
interesting.
it's your nodal point.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we get into nodal points and what nodes are in physics is again your area of pause, your area of no pressure.
Yeah, it's cool.
And
I
then
think we
there's
had a
And you
some.
couple more
think,
rivers. Yeah,
because you picture ocean out in the middle there just getting deeper and just being as deep as it can possibly be, but then it's not.
that's not like it at all. And again, these it's a different color. It's a different. When you look at the blue marble, do you see the different colors? Do you see the different things? The river stack. Just maybe even pull up one river just to show a couple of the
I don't
rivers
know.
how.
I don't know what you're talking about when you say the rivers. I put all the videos in that you put in. Those were them.
And there wasn't one with the river thing on it. Okay, that's so crazy.
There's the river meets ocean, where the Atlantic
Here,
Ocean.
do the river meets ocean.
We watched that one. Oh,
Oh,
here.
okay. Oh,
This
no, we
one.
didn't. Yep. Watch my river meeting ocean going down the river in a boat and you're meeting the ocean. Where do you think the ocean starts?
That is some nasty water. That's like
Mhm. We
mud
can see our
water.
water. Yeah, you get the clay in the waters on our river sometimes and it looks muddy in those
Hmm.
colors. And then,
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
It definitely looks like a river around here.
mhm. It does. That is this, and that's again my shot coming from Colorado and what the Colorado rivers are, which are like crystal clear and none of that sediment and none of this stuff going. The waters are so different everywhere. And so there are different, you have the different colors of the doing. Again, maybe Karen, that's another video project, is there's so many different waters meeting water that's a collage of it. Because you would think, again, it's people are amazed by it everywhere. But no, but I mean, it's everybody seems to think it's a local, but you can again go on the things on it. But yep. Okay, go ahead, Zach. That was like I give people a piece of that, just a little mystery of, and
Yeah.
again, each one of these is a slurry, and you can see how much of a slurry it is.
Now, water is kind of weird because it expands when it freezes. There's not
And
a
it
lot
expands
of
when you
things
heat it.
that do that. Yeah, it expands when you heat it as well. Its boiling point and its freezing point aren't really that far apart. You know, it's it's unlike anything else that I've ever been around. I've ever like played with at all and tested. But this guy's gonna show that, he's gonna fill a pipe up with some water and show that when you freeze it, it's it'll break a pipe. A big, thick metal iron pipe isn't going to stop this thing from expanding. It's going to expand.
Coming
It's
from
like
Colorado, I guarantee this happens. I
it's like the
guarantee it.
opposite of trying to press the water. Like you really can't compress water all that much. They say, some people say it's impossible. Some people say you can compress it a teeny itsy bitsy tiny bit, but it's not like you can put water into a closed box and then squish that box and make it smaller. There is no room. The volume is full. Yeah, that's where hydraulics and all that kind of stuff comes into play with liquids. But yeah, this was neat. This was something they showed on some ABC 13. Not sure where it's from.
Bucket of ice here. And like you said, ice or water, when it freezes, expands, which is unusual. Most things shrink when they get cold, but water expands. So let's demonstrate that. Go ahead and throw some ice into these glasses of water here, and let's see how it floats. Throw it in the other one as well.
Okay.
And so a little bit of a fake out here. This one is actually ethyl alcohol.
Okay.
Okay, ethyl alcohol. So the ice is more dense, that's what sinks, but in water, the ice will float. And that expanding property, taking up more space, is a real problem if you store your Pepsi cans in the freezer, right? You're gonna,
that happen,
it's gonna pop open and make a horrible mess. But also, even worse would be cast iron pipes in your home, or any kind of pipe really, where it's a closed volume. As that ice begins to freeze and it expands, it can rupture the pipes.
You'd think that'd be.
You would think this would be.
It'd be last forever, but
you would think,
even though we're just changing water to ice, it can break something.
Yeah, that's a big, thick pipe too. That's not one of the little tiny copper pipes or your little plastic PVC pipes. That's a real pipe right there.
It's not just pipes, but it'll do this with whole mountain ranges too. Like those little,
yeah. Just think about the water under the ground. Yeah.
When water changes to ice, it expands by about 9%. And in a closed volume, that can generate over 1,000 atmospheres of pressure. Tremendous, tremendous pressure. So we're going to do it.
Okay, let's go.
So what we're going to do is we're going to use not ice to cool this down, but some liquid nitrogen. Okay?
Which is?
It's 320 degrees below zero. Very, very cold. But first, we need to get this filled up all the way with water, with no bubbles inside. I don't want any air that can possibly be compressed. Okay, because air can be compressible. I want to seal this up under the water, get it sealed up finger tight. I think we're good. We got this thing totally filled with water, no air bubbles.
Okay.
Jay, I need you to add some liquid nitrogen to this plastic container. That's going to be our coolant to cool this down.
Okay, here we go. All the way up, right?
Yep, fill her all the way up. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, to do this safely, we got a little containment vessel here. We're going to put the liquid nitrogen inside this container, and then I'll put the elbow inside there. Carl. So we'll put that down inside.
He's not even wearing gloves.
I'm going to put our elbow in.
What
put
a
the top on,
dude.
and then Jay, you and I are going to step away,
gloves.
and we're going to listen for the sound of wherever this elbow just happens to have some sort of defect or something where it's going to break apart. So
Okay, let's go back. Where do you guys think it's going to break on that? Let's see if we can't get a good shot of. So you got this. Is it going to be like a seam here? Is it going to blow out one of these
I think it's
screws?
Gonna have a seam. It's gonna bust a seam in the.
I don't get to guess because I already know. I've already seen it. But
I'm just guessing based on what happened at my house.
Yeah, that's your most likely candidate is going to be there, or I mean, these are big threads right here. I mean, most pipes in, this is more like an apartment building pipe, I would say. That's a big pipe.
Mm-hmm.
But here, yeah, check this out. This is
something where it's going to break apart. So we'll drop that into the nitrogen.
Let science do its job.
What was it?
Pop this open and pour out the nitrogen.
I was thinking, like, is he making a grenade there or something?
Look in there and see. All right, so you can see right there, like you say, Jay, there's that crack right on the side.
That was the weak point.
That was the weak point.
So it cracked right here. Must have just been a thin spot in the steel or the iron or something like that.
Or the thinnest spot because it's big right there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, water is no joke. And like you were saying, Kyle, that's the little cracks in the sidewalk. That's under mountains. I don't know how cold it gets, when there's permafrost and stuff like that. I mean, ice
That's
messes
how,
stuff up.
yeah, this is how it breaks apart the big rocks. Exactly. The boulders, the mountains. That's why they get those cracks that over time the water freezes and expands and then melts away. And it's like on repeat. So every year it just fills back up with more water. And that's how those pieces break off.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's all
Sometimes I
designed to
wonder
just
about
come up
like
and then crumble down.
when it comes to seismology. I wonder how much of that exactly is from this expansion of water, breaking rocks apart. That's going to cause some vibrations as the water expands and it contracts.
Yeah, and it's not just going too cold that does this either. Where's that one at? This one's pretty neat. I love this channel. This guy like just crushes different kinds of things. His hydraulic press versus whatever, he'll have it on there. And this one is his hydraulic press versus expanding water. So what he's doing, he's just going to fill this thing all the way up with water. This is a hydraulic press. He's already got it somewhat pushed down. And then he's just going to apply heat to it. And then he's going to register on his hydraulic press just how many, well, he does kilograms per square inch of pressure that this water is putting into the cylinder. It's ridiculous. And then you think about things like, all the geysers and things like that, or volcanoes, or this or that heating things up, the water around it in the area going on. And this is probably one of the reasons why volcanoes erupt and explode. There's probably water stuck in there that's just trying to get out so bad. But yeah, the amount of pressure, like this shocked me when I saw it. I couldn't believe it when I saw this, how much actual pressure he creates.
It gets me thinking about like pressure cookers. And I've heard of those pressure cookers just exploding before.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be real careful with those. That's why they have the safety valves on them and all that kind of stuff, and you make sure they're working. And yeah, never plug a pressure cooker, like the safety valve and all that kind of stuff. They're very important. So here he goes. He's going to start putting the torch to it, and then you'll see the kilograms per square inch. So is that 2.2 pounds each kilogram? I think that's what it is. Let's see. Yeah, 2.205.
Dang, man.
Just wait. This is insane. And he sped it up 5 times, but this is the number I was focused on up here. It's already over 2,000, going up to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. And this is just water heated with the little torch. Over 6,000, probably 67, 68, somewhere around there. 100 pounds of pressure just by heating the water in there. And the water's trying to escape because it's trying to expand. This is where you get those geysers, Old Faithful and all that kind of stuff, shooting way up into the, Yeah, water is amazing, man. I'm not sure what he's doing over here. Is he? Oh, he's putting it into, okay, cool. I didn't even get this far. He's going to put it into liquid nitrogen. So he pours the liquid nitrogen in there.
Compare and see which one is stronger, the hot or the
Yeah.
cold.
So it looks like, okay, he reset it. It's down to 0.
It really is fascinating how both can have similar reactions. It's just the right temperature to cause that water to contract. But if it's too cold, it starts expanding. If it's too warm, it starts expanding. That's just a really wild thing unto itself.
We were discussing earlier the recipes. Shauna, that comment was for you, the recipes of things change out in the many ways to make recipes to get to the same thing and balancing and doing things like that. She knows what we're talking about. She's in the chat. Off topic, while we're watching the pressure go up, if anybody is following the current stories of science, you'll notice that yesterday they made their remarkable discovery and announcement that the world's oceans all used to be green, not blue. Now, watching all the different colors of the water and seeing that there's blues and greens in every shade in the sunlight, I think
And
it's
there it
like
goes.
there it goes.
Now it's going up. It was weird. It must have been cooling off. I don't know. But it seemed like
I'll not talk. I'm
it
sorry.
was losing pressure there for a second. And now that it's getting colder again and freezing, the pressure is building back up.
Yep, that's crazy.
I didn't see this part. I don't know how high it goes.
I think it might be a little bit easier to make it really, really hot than it is to make it really, really cold.
This is over
It's going even
8,000,
beyond.
9,000. Yeah. Over 10,000. Wow. Over 11,000 pounds per square inch from freezing it. So that's your water on the sidewalk in the, no wonder they can't ever fix the highways up there by Chicago. They got to fight this stuff all year round, or 6 months out of the year.
That's something I've never really fully thought about before.
It can explode.
Like the amount of expansion that water undergoes when freezing. Because when it comes to heat, you think about all those particles getting, more and more excited. They get bigger and bigger. But when it comes to an ice cube, you don't think about an ice cube continually growing as it gets colder and colder. You think, oh, okay, well, that ice cube is just going to get to a certain size, and then it's just going to stay that size. But no, this is telling me that the colder that ice cube gets, the bigger that ice cube will get. And yeah, never thought about that before. Very interesting.
Yeah, me neither. That's wild. Now, then there's some really cool stuff you can do with water. Well, actually, we'll do this one at the end, because this is more like just water by itself doing, freezing and heating. We're not going to quite apply electricity to it just yet. But
which, by the way, is the secret ingredient to making snowflakes in laboratory.
Electricity, making snowflakes in laboratory. I never thought about that.
And by the way, they can make perfect snowflakes in laboratory. The secret ingredient for him to do it was adding a little bit of electricity to the mix. And as saying that no two snowflakes are exactly alike has been proven wrong. If you produce them exactly under the same conditions, they produce exactly alike, go figure.
Which is interesting because I've never really thought about, like, when I think of electricity to water, you have to add salt. But where are you getting salt way up in the atmosphere?
Yeah, it doesn't even, you don't need
well,
salt.
We have our electric field there, which again during storms gets a little bit more pronounced than that. So it's just that volts per meter available, I think.
Well,
is that right, Zach?
Water's a liquid crystal. So you don't really need anything to make crystals with water, because
no, you don't need to, but for them to reproduce the perfect snowflakes, they just, and I'm not talking about zapping it a lot, I'm just talking about adding a little stronger field to it in laboratory, and it helps getting their little production. But you're right.
So the best demonstration I could find on this, I can't show you here. You can go to Walter Lewin. He has a channel. I think it's called Walter Lewin Loves Physics or something like that. But he was an MIT physics professor, And every time I share his videos, we get struck. Even though it's fair use and all that kind of stuff, they've pretty much, I guess, YouTube the way they're handling these things now because they're tired of it. They're like, then if you're super serious, just take it to court. We need to see, and that's even they're getting sick of that too. So we'll see. But anyway, great presentation that he does. He's got a real big one set up, for a lecture hall. And the only other ones I could find were pretty much ones like do-it-yourself ones. But here is a university, I think this is University of Michigan, the Warren M. Smith Lecture Lab demonstration. This is the Kelvin water drop electrostatic generator. If you've never heard of one of these things, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around how this works, why this is happening. But it seems to be here, I'll just show it to you first. So you have your water up here coming down and splitting into two different tubes. Doesn't matter what the tubes are made of. It could be plastic, metal, whatever. Then you have your conductor right here, which is a ring that's connected to a wire that goes over to this capturing bucket. And then you have the same setup over here that's connected to this capturing bucket. So I don't even know why they did this or set it up. And then you'll have an electrode coming out from the two buckets, pointing near each other, that'll get a discharge popping off between them, or they'll have it hooked up to a, like it says right here, an electroscope, which is what they do, which is really neat to watch too, because you can actually see it bounce as it's building up. I wish they would have grabbed the sound of it more, because the sound is so important. You can almost determine when
The sound quality is a really interesting thing to think about also because of the way water is so susceptible to vibrations. And it really gets me thinking about vibrations and magnetism and how there is a very clear connection between vibration and magnetism.
Yeah. So here's your electroscope right down here. Now all it is, an electroscope, it's a metal rod right here coming down, and there's another metal rod. This one's a little more advanced. It seems to be counterbalanced. So it's going to push, like it's all going to be the same charge. There's only one charge. It's not like there's a positive and a negative. And it's going to push that metal rod because these two are going to be like charges. So it's going to push this over and it's going to push this over. And then it has a little scale right here that you can read it on. A little bit different than mine. I have a gold leaf electroscope. Same principle though. So he touched it. You can see it got the charge on it right here. Now he's going to discharge it and it's going to go down. He'll just touch it with his hand. Boop. And it's still got a little bit of a charge on it. I don't know why he touched it. It was laying there. I guess you want to make sure it doesn't get stuck and it's actually. So there goes the water right there. And this is going to start going up as the water's falling. And then boom, boom. You can kind of hear the water. Can you hear that? How it's dripping and then not? Do you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Like the on off of the water? I don't know
Sounds
why,
like a
but
pump.
yeah, it's like right before a discharge, the water will start sputtering as it's falling and start falling more like rain. It'll stop falling like a straight stream and it'll start sputtering and turning into like little rain droplets. And then as soon as that discharge happens, it'll start pouring down again, just like a faucet. This one is more homemade-ish. This is really neat though. I've never seen this before. I've watched a bunch of these.
This
You
is
can
looking like
actually
your generator.
you can actually see the water droplets going around it from the electrostatics, almost like it's doing. I'm sure it's hitting somewhere, and it's a new. Here, I'll just show it to you. This is wild. But this one, you can actually hear it really well. At the end, he'll show you the
Oh,
discharge. Look at
whoa.
those water droplets. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, look at him going around there like a little toroid.
Is that not wild? I've never seen anybody do it with a toroid before.
That kind of reminds me of watching. You've seen the water, the bubbles in the water where they're rising in a ring, and all of a sudden something starts going around the ring in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is totally like that.
That's fabulous. That is. I'm loving that.
But I've
I'm
never
gonna make
seen it
one of
done in air before. Yeah, that's wild.
Now here near the end, I just wanted you guys to see that part right there. He's going to show the discharge, and it must be really charged up, or maybe he's manipulating it somehow. I'm not sure. Okay, so you're going to hear it pour out right after a discharge. And then it'll start sputtering, like we were saying, like rain, and you'll hear it. And then all of a sudden, after the discharge, it'll start going again, like it's just pouring out. See, I think he has more pressure in his. His almost seems like he's shooting it out. It's not just the water falling, but it's under pressure being shot down.
I heard that adjusting the charge of the water affects the flow of water. You can make water flow faster by electrifying that water.
Really?
Yeah. It gets me
I've
thinking
never.
about
Yeah.
the way water sticks together and the qualities of that.
So yeah, listen for this. You'll hear the zap, and then you'll hear the water start pouring, and then you'll start hear it sputtering, and then you'll know there's another zap coming. Like he must have this thing either super tuned in, or I don't know how he'd be helping it to charge it more, but I've never seen anybody get it to discharge that quickly. It's not very far, it's only what, 2 centimeters there, but that's still like 5,000 volts at least, if not more. He's saying 40 kilovolts, but I don't know what that. But yeah, if this is real right here, I've never seen even Walter Lewin's real big setup didn't get a charge to discharge, and like it took a while. It would sputter for a little bit. This is more like zap, zap. I've never seen it happen this quickly.
A quick search also told me that after you magnetize water, it'll evaporate faster as well.
Huh. So yeah, that was Simon Jelly. Yeah, water droplets orbit rings. Yeah, that was really cool. The orbiting of it like that. I'm gonna have to try that. And then this is something I'm going to do here probably this summer. This doesn't seem like it should be that hard. It's pretty much just a tube with water. It looks like it's taped to a speaker. Like I could do that. So let's see. Yeah, and the clad knee plate, I saw an image of that in there.
Got
Yeah.
the Rubik's Tube, got a whole playground of toys.
Speaker, rubber hose, water source, tone generating software, produce a 24 hertz sine wave, 24 frame per second capable camera. Now, that's one of the interesting parts about this. Like, when you're doing this, watching it with your eye, it may not look the exact same as it does as the video. Like when the water's just standing there and it looks like it's not moving at all. I don't know if it looks like that in real life.
No, because they're matching the
They're matching the
20
frame rate.
hertz, the
Yeah.
frame rate with the yeah. They're matching the frame rate to match the wave, and that's so I don't think so either. Very cool to again.
Yeah, it looks really neat in video.
Looks neat, and it'd be fun to even again. You could set up a camera, do it, watch it through the screen, and again set it up along with a Rubik's Tube and along with the Chladni dish or plate. The
So
word
it's
I
pretty
can't
much
say.
just shaking the hose. 24 hertz is nothing. Look at that. So I wonder what it looks like with the human eye, though. Does it just look like water spraying out all over? I don't know. We're gonna have to try this like soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Looks like parts of it are just kind of like hovering there. Before it looked like a little drop of it was coming out and just floating.
Yeah, all these down here and stuff.
But you got to wonder about the frame rate because that's kind of a thing that can affect it too, where water can appear to be doing one thing, but it has to do with the camera frame rate.
That's exactly what we were saying. Yes, and
Yeah,
they're
and this
matching
is
the
the
hertz. They're
25
matching
hertz. So it's going just a little bit faster with a 24 frame per second camera.
Now, what I really want to do with this is do this and shine a laser through it at the same time.
I would like to do this. And can you set the frame rate? Can you take
And then
cameras?
you
Do you have
go to
cameras
23
you
and
can?
it reverses the effect. I
Looks
know
cool.
the P900 and there's two different frame rates. I think it's 60 and 30. Is that what they
It'd be
are?
fun to try it at different. It would be fun to match the hertz to the different frame rates and see what the different, if again, the different hertz is if you get bigger or smaller waves. Well, again, you would get the different size waves with it.
This was really cool.
As you
It just had to
increase
do
it, you
with
should
the
get the smaller
vibrations.
waves. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah, I was kind of looking at this
Resonance.
effect.
Nobody's ready
Making
for this one.
different pictures out of the same. He's taking like a whole bunch of vibrations and sticking them on top of each other to make different faces. It's like detailed faces. It's really wild. You gotta see this.
What's
I
the
gotta
guy's
wonder.
name? The
I gotta
scientist?
wonder
Moto?
if this one isn't reverse engineered though, where he starts with
Yeah.
a face and then makes the different filters and cymatic patterns to build the face. That's kind of what I think's going on.
Yeah,
But it is interesting.
I do wonder about. Like I saw this and I'm like, is this some kind of trick? What's going on here?
It could definitely be a trick.
But it was cool
Well,
how they were able to take the same papers or film and get different faces just in rearranging the order.
Okay, let me see.
Nobody is ready for this one. This probably looks familiar. It probably looks like these cymatic patterns that I talk about all the fucking time. And all these things is a petri dish on top of a speaker and a light on top of it, making these cool mandala-like patterns. Now this man made one of them in a 3D design software and took cross sections of it and put different colors to those cross sections. So using a 3D cymatic pattern, this man was able to create a perfect image using sound and light. I want you to sit and really think about this, because this is the code to reality. This is the code
See,
to
I just
nature,
don't think
whatever you
so.
want to
I
call
don't
it.
think so either.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time.
I do think
Shenanigans.
shenanigans. I do think now that we're doing that, I want to try the jelly dish. Can you type in jelly dish hologram 3D jelly dish on your
Oh,
computer,
I think there's
Zach?
a last one I sent.
This one, is this going to get us struck? Nigel, John, Stanford. This one's so cool. He's got everything in this one. He's got the Tesla
yeah.
coils, he's got the tray, he's got the tube. Like,
So I
this
like to do
is
the
one of
multi.
the coolest videos ever made on as far as playing with cymatic toys all
For
in one
sure.
thing. Yeah. If you've never seen it, we're not going to play it, but I'll drop it in chat for you right now, because if you've never seen this, definitely go check this guy out. This is so cool. Yeah, 51 million views on this one. I've watched it probably a dozen times. I just saw it on the side over here. I was like, ooh, I know that thumbnail. Okay, what did you want me to look up there, Cam?
3D jelly hologram.
There's the last video I sent you in the
Oh, did
chat.
you?
Make a hologram projector with a plastic.
This I've seen on a lot of. There's like a whole bunch of different. There should be a. That doesn't look like the jelly dish. Looking for a jello dish one. That doesn't look like it at all. That's not what.
Maybe
In the chat, I
Jello.
sent you a very good one.
Jello cup. Maybe put
Yeah.
3D Jello cup hologram. Or,
You can just
or is
take
that
a
it right
Slurpee.
there? You can make. I see it right there. You can make a 3D. It's in the second one. You can make a fun 3D
This one?
holographic
There
picture.
it is.
Mhm.
孩子一
Yeah.
起做一个3D 全息投影吧。塑料片剪下来，贴上胶带，45度角放进果冻壳，并且固定
Yeah,
好。
see, they put something in
放
there.
在
Yeah,
3D
there's.
Not
屏
It's
上
just
like.
the
It's
cup.
supposedly the lid of it, though, is what they say. I got they're doing cellophane.
跟孩子一起做一个 3D
Okay, that
全
one
息
they
投
have
影吧。
something.
塑料片剪下来，贴上胶
That's
带
not the lid.
，45度角放进果
That
冻
was
壳，
like
No,
a,
it is
并且固定
that.
好。
It is.
that
It's
looks,
almost
that's
another layer of
polarized.
polarization.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah,
it
that's
right
a
there.
polarized
Mhm.
light. But look,
Mhm.
it's definitely not, it was
It's
way
cellophane
big.
for sure, and another cellophane there.
Yeah, right here. That's a, is that a
And depending on
Polaroid tube?
how
It's a
they
piece
were
of
showing, which could
cellophane.
be in the list. Yeah, it's a piece of cellophane, which could be also some of the videos where it looked like they're taking the lid and pushing up there. That could also be valid. I mean, but the thing with these things is they're showing up in all different things again where we have it, and they're employing cellophane, which is polarized, and putting it on top of your cell phone, which has got a circular polarized lens. And so I find, like on these things that, again, a whole bunch of them, I have a square one, but I want to see if we can get this. You put it on top of your phone and it will make whatever it is supposed. I'm interested. Has anybody else done this? Because I see some of the physics involved right there. I see one. I see a lot of the physics involved that it might work pretty good. And again, it's in the schools. I haven't tried to. I got frustrated because I went in and looked at my Jello cups. Or jelly cups, and mine are the snack pack brown, which are cylinders with a flat bottom. Not this at all. So I have the wrong Jello cups. But the cellophane is the material of it that makes it intriguing because of the fact that they are made out of cellophane, not just plastic. But again, that's very, very polarized, and so is your screen in that. So I see some potential that this might not be just a clickbait, which so many of these things seem to be as clickbait. But this one, right again, try that one. That again looks really fun to try. and it showed up with enough classes, not that there's some validity to it, that I think it's more than clickbait. But I want to try doing this.
Did I drop that link in chat? That one video?
Yeah, I saw you copy it. Did you paste it?
I don't know. But here, this one, I found one in English. We'll see what they say.
Teach you to use leftover jelly shells. Do amazing 3D holographic projections. Cut a transparent plastic sheet into an arc. Stick double-sided tape, 45 degrees.
Transparent plastic sheet. 45 degrees into the jelly shell.
So I'm interested if the transparent plastic is cellophane or not, or if it's pulled, if it's got any polarization.
Teach you to use leftover jelly shells. Do amazing 3D holographic projections. Cut a transparent plastic sheet into an arc. Stick double-sided tape, 45 degrees, into the jelly shell projection. Use video. Just search for 3D.
Just says transparent plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the different things on it could be, and again, the lid on some of these was transparent plastic, which is different than the cellophane, and that it's an interesting. I want to try, Karen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the important part. Like, not so much that it's a plastic jelly cup, but you could probably, like Kyle said he saw with a wine glass, I could see if you take like a little cup, like a stemless wine glass or something, and put it in there, it would probably work.
We've got some different things. I'm wondering, I think there is something to it being cellophane, but that would be our good experiment is does that have anything to do with it or not? Because cellophane's extremely polarized. And your screen is. So that will be some of the testing. Will work as good with a wine glass, plastic. We have plastic domes, glass domes. What's the difference on them? But yeah.
See, I think when I do this, we're going to be disappointed.
I think you're going to need the cameras and the frame rate.
It's not going to look like that to the human eye. That's all right, though.
Yeah, I still want to try the laser using, because you can get the laser to bend in the water. I sent you a video of that. And there's another video I shared with you where you can take 3 different lasers and shine them through the pouring water at the same time. And that was kind of a different experience. I've never seen it done with 3 different lasers at the same time before.
Kyle, you sent one that was interesting that I was looking at earlier. That was the one that I was trying to get, and I couldn't capture it. It's got the beads of water that they do. The
blue lasers are shining.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, that's the 3 lasers at a time.
Go ahead, Cam.
Oh, no, go ahead with the, there's another video Kyle sent that I think you're going to get into. This is the 3 lasers at a time one, but yeah.
It's showing you combining the 3 lasers to the pouring water, and then the water ends up being like a fiber optic cable. It has that effect.
So that it's amazing.
So I can do either thick 30 or 60 frame rates on my phone. So if I do it at the right hertz, though, it should be okay, right? As long
Exactly,
as I
you
play
can
around
match
the
it.
right hertz. Yeah.
Yep, and then go
Okay.
before and after, and you can see it slightly different. So again, we could do several, like again, the hertz right around it to capture the effect.
So we know light is a wave, but at the same time, I'm thinking about sound and kind of the relationship
Sound
between...
is a wave too. It's all the
sound
same.
is a wave also, but sound travels faster in water. Okay, sound travels faster and farther in water. So light why does it slow down in water, or does it slow down? Because that's a whole question, is the speed of light. Is there really a speed of light kind of a thing too? So there's a lot of questions I've got involved in there. Is like, why does light behave so much differently in water than sound does?
There's a whole science to it. It's the translutal, or what's the 2 different types, the wave types.
Great idea. Sorry, Cam.
No, and my brain just did a complete glitch.
If we get a strobe light, we can see the water
Transverse.
falling. You know, a strobe light you can control. Then you could actually see the water falling that way. It would look like
Kyle, you want to look up into
Great point.
transverse versus longitudinal waves, and you're going to find your difference between how it travels differently in light than it does with sound. And again, it's too long to go into right now, but transverse versus longitudinal waves, and that will answer all your questions. That's a whole show. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
I'm
just
just
a,
thinking
if
about
you
like,
wonder, but no, there is a definite art to the science behind how the waves move differently, and again, a whole show topic that we won't do right now, but again, we've done it before, but with the waves, it's a great question, and start researching into it.
if sound
The
travels
answers are there.
farther and faster in water, does that make the bottom of the ocean where like really loud? Is it a really loud place?
Could be, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's also an insulator, so
Okay, let's
Maybe
see
the
this.
pressure has a
Lasers.
way of containing, yeah, different water at different pressures might have a change in vibrational distances. I don't know.
acoustics. Yep, that would affect temperature, affects everything. So your acoustics and that would be.
Red, green, and blue lasers are shining into this water tank, and then they get trapped in the stream of water, bouncing around like it was an optical fiber and combining at the end to form white light. If any one of those three lasers is blocked, you then see the different color that the other two lasers combine to form. This great demo is made by the University of Rochester's optics program for their educational outreach. Red,
neat.
green,
That's
and
pretty
blue lasers
cool.
are shining in
Making white light. Yeah, that's interesting how the lasers just follow it. Yeah, water is amazing. And we didn't even scratch the surface, really. There's so much about water. Who did a really good one on water? Was it Space Busters?
They might have. They do talk
Years
about
ago.
the fourth phase of water, but you know that the light bends towards the denser medium, so that's why the light's
Yeah.
bending with the water.
It makes me think about just the different vision of like crabs. Crabs can see a lot more for some reason. Apparently, you get into kind of stuff like that, and I really wonder like how they know exactly what colors a crab can see. You know what I mean? They make big claims like that, and so, but yeah, why is it that? And think about like all of the different animals, like hammerhead sharks, and about how they're supposed to be like really sensitive to like electromagnetic vibrations in the water, and yeah, but you don't really see a whole lot of land animals that are anywhere near as sensitive to light and vibrations like this, like not the way water animals are.
Well, I know the big giant blue whales. People have been trying, to swim with them forever. And they found, just like in the last decade or so, that the only way that you can get into the water with these things without scaring them off is without wearing any scuba gear.
Whoa.
You can't have anything making any noise on you, because
it's super sensitive.
They must be super sensitive, and they take off. But they found that when people go and free dive with them, that these giant whales will start coming up all around them and making circles around them and doing all kinds of stuff and like communicating with them. But yeah, they must be that sensitive that they can't even take the noises coming from the scuba gear.
I was just watching a video recently about noise pollution in the ocean and about how much noise a lot of these big boats end up making. And so they're trying to actually make boats quieter. Yeah, they've never quite done that in the past before, but now they're really trying to implement the technology into quieter boats for traveling the ocean, for the big shipping boats.
They need to work on making quieter trains. I used to feel the train go by. It was like, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile away.
Gotta wonder what that does to the environment, because I'm thinking about the worm stick. You put the pole in the water and you start rubbing it, and then all of a sudden the worms come up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that happen all the time around trains? Does it just kill the worms all around it because they all just come up every time a train goes by? I never thought about that before.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something I want to think about going back to the last video we watched with mixing the colors and seeing it as clear or white, and then seeing the individual colors by unplugging it. I want you to notice that we were looking at a medium water, so you were seeing it happen in the water, and yet the way that we mixed the light to get white was not like a pigment. You can't mix the pigments to do it. It's an absence of a pigment. So in other words, your mixture of colors worked perfectly like light works, and not as we all know that working with light is different than working with paint and mixing things. You get again a different result. So I think that that's very interesting that it was the rule of light that worked here, not the rule of like doing it in pigment. You wouldn't be able to, you can't mix red, green, and you can't mix paints and get white. You mix the lights and get white, but you can't mix any paints or any physical object to get the white like that.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way, and yet they did it with the water.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of even cooler. The more you think about it, the more cool it gets. But
Well, yeah, that's going to do it for the show. I'm sure we can jump back on water here, do a little bit of research and whatnot. And I know there's all kinds of really neat stuff. We didn't even get into what's that scientist's name? Moto?
Yeah,
yeah,
Dr. Emoto.
Yeah. And then, you know, the shooting energies into waters and turning it into like this sweet tasting nectar of the gods. I don't know how else to explain it. Like playing music for your water and putting it through these certain, what was that machine?
we did the rife machine, and we did the esophageal tones, and did
No, it wasn't a rife machine.
parlay.
There was another.
Well, we hooked the rife machine up to 5-gallon things of water and actually fed
I know, but
frequencies and did music. We did it with a
you,
Walkman too.
what's the machine? You guys have a machine that like does something to the water. It's not like you hooking a rife machine or playing
We
music.
did the David Ellis machine. We used the
Yeah,
David Ellis. Yeah, we used the David Ellis machine, which made it taste really crisp and clear. But we did notice that when we put headphones on our water bottle and played, we played Holy Harmony was what we did is we had a CD called Holy Harmony. You can still get it and pull it up. It's all Sapatrio. The the water sweetened. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We did blind taste tests with everybody and did a whole thing, but you could side by side, you could taste one was sweeter than the other one was, preference. So that was a fun experiment to do, and it was remarkable. It's a lot to
yeah,
get the water
structured
to it.
water.
Structured water. Yeah, we structured the water, and then we again doused it with the ripe and then put headphones on it and played music and tones, and we had really good results with that. So much to do with water. Again, it's so mysterious, so magic, and it's life. I mean,
People having great um, results putting their water through a magnetic field, like vortexing it, and then putting it onto their plants and seeing the difference between that and just regular watering it kind of blew my mind. Now, I don't know. I don't know why. There's something inside me that keeps telling me, yeah, but should you do that? I don't know why. So I haven't really done it yet on our plants or anything like that. I love rainwater. I'll use city water if I have to, but I don't know. I don't know why. It's that little voice inside my head. That's the only reason that I'm not doing it. I've seen people get great results out of it. Almost like it's cheating, I would say. Like the results are that great. So yeah, we got all kinds of different water stuff we can talk about here in the future. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week. We'll get together and talk about that and see what we come up with. But Karen, what you got coming up this week?
Not much. Coffee talk on Monday, and this show is all I'm doing right now because I've got a lot going on. It's that
Yeah,
time of year, and still
understandable.
puppies. Still puppies. Maybe I'll post
Yeah,
some videos of puppies.
there you go. Well, may they be found a new home soon.
Yeah, that would be
You can
nice. Some of
get
them
back
at
to
least.
normal, somewhat normal, right? All right, Kyle, what you got coming up this week, man?
Austin versus Jaron. That's my next big thing. That, and I'm doing a whole lot of study on Aries failure. I'm still kind of putting pieces together and in connection with Mickelson Morley and Nicholson Gale, all the other ones. There's like a whole line of vocabulary that Bob left me, and I've just been pulling out the magnifying glass and combing through it, and yeah, seeing how all the pieces fall, because he really did a good job of categorizing and seeing the connections between concepts. And so, yeah, really appreciate that.
Awesome. Can't wait, man. And Cammy, are we going to be doing a show tomorrow night?
I don't know. We may or may not be doing a show tomorrow night. We do have people in the house and animals in the house. And my main thing, I'm always learning. I'm again researching the background different ways. The sky, again, more the possibilities and pieces to throw out in there. My big thing is it's morel mushroom hunting season in the area. I've never found any in this area, so I'm
I
hoping to
haven't
find
either.
some. I'm hoping to go out. They say that they grow along creek beds and next to the tulip poplars here. I have creek beds. I have this. I keep on looking. So everybody cross their fingers for me to see if it'd be really fun. That's my project this week. Is I'd really love to find some mushrooms. And that'll get you out by the river and in nature, which is a good project. So
Very cool. And as for me, you can always find me over on Iron Realm Media Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. I know it's early. People across the pond, we tend to get more of them over there. And then a few early birds from the East Coast here. A couple late nighters on the West Coast. So you never know who's going to be popping in. And then tomorrow night, Friday nights, same channel, we do a Have No Sphere show, usually about 6:30-ish Eastern. We're wizards on Friday night, so we show up precisely when we're supposed to. There's no absolute time with that. But yeah, and then GLOBEBUSTERS on Sunday, of course. So thank you all so much for being here and hanging out. That was a fun one. Water. There's so much. We just scratched the surface of all the weirdness that's out there, and I'm sure with all that humans have accumulated, all the knowledge right now on water probably isn't even scratching the surface of what it can actually do. So always be thinking, always be learning, always be testing and trying stuff. If you have an idea and you have the capability, the material around you and the know-how to try it, try it. It may take, 20 minutes, a half hour to set it up or whatnot, but you will know after you're done, and that will last forever. So remember, be good to each other, folks. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind. There's truth inside. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.